Hello everyone, welcome to HR.com's HR Tech Symposium. This event was created to provide HR leaders the resources they need to succeed. We have just introduced new resources and professional development options for you and your teams with our new Prime membership packages. Please visit the HR.com booth in the exhibit hall or contact membership at HR.com to learn more. Thank you for joining us for the webcast, Designing Modern Skill Building Journeys to Rapidly Reshape the Workforce, sponsored by Learn In. The webcast has been pre-approved for a HRCI credit. Please be sure to attend the complete webcast in order to receive your credit. You will receive an email from HR.com within 2 business days, which will include the certification credit information. You may also log in to your HR.com account and view the credits you have received. If you have any questions during the webcast, click on Q&A box in your webinar controls and type them in. And now it is my pleasure to turn it over to our presenter.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lena. So excited to be talking to you today about modern skill building journeys. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Great. So modern skill building journeys. I'm Taylor. I'm one of the co-founders and the head of product at Learn In. So Learn In, we are a upskilling solution. We've been focused on how can we help more companies invest in their employees' development through skill building. Before Learn In, myself and a lot of the Learn In team came from a company called Degreed. So I was at Degreed for the 7 years prior to Learn In, and have really seen firsthand these skill building efforts across hundreds of companies, millions of users. There's some things that we believe work really well and some challenges that we want to help you avoid as you consider skill building for your employees. So we want to show you 4 tools that you can use to help you do skill building inside of your organizations. And so what you can expect is we're going to talk about how you can use tuition assistance, which you wouldn't often think of as a skill building tool, scholarships and stipends, building internal programs, and building your own skill building academies. I'll show you quickly how to do those 4 things inside of Learn In. And really the goal here is that whenever inside of your business you're presented with a business challenge where skill building would help, we really want you to be empowered to say, you know what, in the next few months, we could actually move the needle there. We could provide a solution for the business. So whatever the business challenge is, we have these tools to upskill, to provide skill building for employees. So the first thing I'd like to talk about to help frame some of this is, skill building. It's critical. The skills gap is growing at an ever increasing rate, but skill building is hard, right? It takes work. It fundamentally takes work to help employees develop new skill sets. And what I see so often is that we inside of L&D have been focused around content. We've been focused around knowledge dissemination. So this is, this is job aids, this is informational snippets, this is getting someone to watch a short video or complete a short course, which definitely has its place. But really, if we're talking about helping people develop whole new skill sets, just making some content available and crossing your fingers and checking back in 6 months or 9 months and hoping that people have developed skills around data science or cybersecurity or up-leveled their leadership skills and capabilities, like it's just not enough. So really, a lot of what we're talking about is how do we go beyond just the, tell me about this thing to actually help me develop it. And we really believe that that is done best, and we'll talk more about this, but it requires practice, it requires feedback. It's done best when you're in a group of people, when you're in a cohort. It requires experiences more than just content. So how do we enable that inside of your organizations? And this is important, especially now as we're seeing the effects of the Great Resignation, right? So you're losing a lot of your best talent, you're bringing on a lot of talent, Employees expect more from their employers in terms of career growth, career opportunities, skill development, and the world is changing. Technology's advancing at a rapid pace. We need to be able to keep up with these changes, or it's going to affect our ability as a business to perform. So when I talk about upskilling, upskilling can really mean several different things. And lots of different vendors and lots of different companies use upskilling to refer to kind of different things. So I want to talk about this chart for a little bit as a way of pulling apart the different ways to think about upskilling. So here on this chart, on the vertical, we've got the frequency of the problem or the challenge. So very frequent, not very frequent. On the horizontal, we've got the complexity of the problem or the challenge. So here in this bottom left corner, we've got what I call the figure it out zone, right? So this is for, problems that aren't very complicated, that you don't encounter all that frequently. This is me when I'm trying to build a pivot table inside of Excel. I need to do it, once a year, maybe. I always forget how to do it. So, where am I going to turn to? Well, it's not that complicated to figure out. So I can just go to, if my company has some internal resources, or I can go to Google, I can do a quick search, and I can problem solve, unblock, figure out, great, this is how I build a pivot table inside of Excel. I can move on, right? So there's lots of challenges in this area. But now say you have, 50 different people inside of your organization who are encountering the same challenge over and over again. Okay, well, now it's going to make sense. Let's provide some performance support. Let's provide a job aid. Let's provide a checklist. Let's provide something in the flow of work so that when people are encountering this problem, they don't have to go ask someone every time. They don't have to look it up every time. There's some information that can meet them in the moment of need, help unblock them. So again, that's for the problems that aren't super complicated, but that are occurring frequently enough where it makes sense for you to design some sort of solution. Now, over here on the right-hand side, we have these more complex challenges, right? And this is really where Learn In is focused when we talk about deep upskilling, right? So you need to build capabilities, and it's not as easy as creating a checklist or a one-pager or giving someone a piece of micro-learning or a short video. This is a capability that they're going to have to use in lots of different contexts. It's more complicated, it's more complex, there's nuance. So how do we build that level of skill or capability? And I suggest there's two ways, and we'll map this back to the demo that you'll see here in a little bit. But if you have 1 or 2 or 3 people who need to upskill in a specific area, maybe they need to up-level in project management or financial acumen or data science or cybersecurity. Well, if it's just a few people, it's not going to make sense for you to build, a skill building journey, build your own internal program. It's just not going to be worth the cost or the effort. And for most skills, there are really, really great external programs already out there. So if you have 2 people who need project management, great. Connect them to the best, project management courses or programs or certifications, and let them up level that way. And these programs, even the ones externally, they have practice, they have feedback, they have coaching, they have accountability, they have these hands-on elements. A lot of them have internal cohorts that you're going through. So they're really effective skill building programs. So if it's not a very frequent challenge or need inside your organization, it's for one of these more complex skills or capabilities, you can buy a program. But you as an organization, you likely have a handful of core skill or capability needs that are very core to you as a business. You have lots of people who are going to need to up level, and maybe there's some level of customization or contextualization that you want to provide that's specific to your business. Well, in those cases, we believe that you can build a program, and Learn In can help provide you the tools to build a really effective skill building journey or program. So this is where we are focused. We think the world has a lot of solutions over here on the left-hand side, fewer solutions on the right-hand side, So that's where we're focused. We see this as an increasing need inside of L&D organizations. So let me show you this in the form of, real quickly, how you can use tuition assistance as a tool to connect your employees to the best external skill building programs. So this is one of the tools to have in your tool belt. So this is inside of the Learn In product as an employee. So I'm interested, I need to learn, data analytics, I need to learn project management, whatever it is, I can come to Learn In. And here on Learn In, there's this marketplace of skill building programs. And what we tell companies is, most companies don't think of tuition assistance as a tool for skill building. They think of it as strictly a benefit. Maybe there's some retention aspect to it where we hope that employees will stay longer if they engage with it. But typically tuition assistance is used against traditional 4 or 2-year degree programs. But there's no reason why that has to be the case. You can still have the tax benefits from tuition assistance and apply it to shorter, more skill-oriented programs like technology boot camps, certificate programs, executive education. So this is the first thing we say, right? So have a broader view of the types of programs that you're willing to open up through your tuition assistance program. And these programs, you'll notice, take 3 months, a few weeks. They range from, they range different sizes, different price points. Some cost a couple $100, some might cost $2,000. But you compare that to employees going and getting a master's or a bachelor's degree. First of all, those take 2 to 4 years if you're doing it full time. If you're working, they're going to take much longer than that. The completion rates for traditional degree programs for working adults are really, really bad. They're between 20 to 30%. So most of the employees who participate aren't ever going to finish. And then the outcomes, are questionable in terms of, are the outcomes really aligned to the skill and talent needs inside the organization? So let's think differently about this. Shorter, more focused programs, they cost less, more people are going to be able to participate, you're going to get more bang for your buck. And the other nice thing you can do here is you as a company, you get to customize which programs show up here, right? So, and this is from all of the best programs and providers. So you no longer have to say, well, let's go pick one provider, let's buy a bunch of licenses, let's make it available to our employees, cross our fingers, hope someone uses the licenses we just paid money for. No, you can just say, we're going to make the best of the best available. As someone wants to take, if someone wants to take this UX design certificate program from Google, great. If someone wants to use it, then we can facilitate the payment for it. You don't have to buy a bunch of licenses up front. But you can also highlight how these programs align to critical skills that you need as a business. So maybe you need data analytics skills. Or you can also highlight how these programs lead to potential new role or career opportunities. There's nothing worse than having an employee go through all the time and energy of completing some sort of external training or education program, and then the disappointment that comes afterwards when they realize it didn't do anything in terms of opening up new opportunities inside of their business, because there was no way to have that communication to say, you know what, these are the areas that we really need, and we'd really encourage you to leverage tuition assistance against these programs, these skills, these areas that we really need. So you can make these programs available, and then you can set up traditional tuition reimbursement. So here I've been approved for $5,250 of tuition reimbursement. I can come in here, I can submit a reimbursement request. We make the administrative side of tuition assistance really, really simple. Today, tuition assistance is such a painful process inside of organizations that, it's really falling short of being that strategic skill building tool. But if you want to take it to the next level, reimbursement is cost prohibitive for a lot of employees. They don't have the ability to pay a few $1,000s up front, finish a course or program, wait a few months to be reimbursed. So we see a lot of companies saying, you know what, we'd love to go with this virtual card solution, where based on approvals, they are then given a certain amount of money to use upfront to pay for the course or program that they've been approved for. And that way, they don't have to wait months and months to be reimbursed. So that is the tuition assistance tool. So a lot of companies, you might already have a budget for tuition assistance, and it's just a black hole. You have no idea where it's going, what it's doing. And we say, hey, let's leverage your existing policy budget around tuition assistance. Let's orient it more around skill building so that you can get more bang for your buck and drive outcomes that matter. So that's the first tool in your skill building toolkit. And this is part of the, well, sometimes it makes sense to sort of outsource, right, to help employees find an external program. Tuition assistance is one of the tools to help you do that. So let me jump back here. So that's the first one, tuition assistance. The second one is still in this theme of, well, when does it make sense to connect employees to the best external programs? How do we help them be successful? I'm going to show you outside of tuition assistance, how you could use internal scholarships or stipends to facilitate this as well. To set that up, I want to show you this video. This video is from Beth Davies. She was previously the director of learning at Tesla and Apple before that. And she gives this framework that I think is really, really helpful as we talk about this. So this is a video, it takes just a couple minutes. Let me go ahead and play this and we'll discuss it.
In the past, L&D has really been about how many people can we fit in a classroom, right? So we've been constrained. And we, as a result, we've tended to have a one-to-one correlation. So if we need 5 people skill ready, then we need to put 5 people through development, right? Because we were constrained, that's how many butts we could put into a seat. But we no longer have that constraint. So much learning is happening digitally. And so the new part is, I think we have to take inspiration from people like sales. But the way a sales organization works is they typically start with the bottom and they say, how many sales do we need this quarter, this half year, this year? How many sales do we need? And then they figure out their funnel to get there. And they say, okay, so we're going to need this many prospects. We're going to need this many people who are possibly interested in our product. And what the folks in sales know is that this is not a straight pipe, right? You know, that you can't have, if you want 5 sales, you can't have just 5 prospects. And over time, they've really learned and have modeled how many prospects we need, how many we're going to fall out at each of these levels. We're doing the same thing in learning and development, particularly around upskilling. We too should be saying with our business leaders, how many are we going to need to be ready? And we get that number, right? That's that goal at the bottom. But then we start super broad. We're not constrained by butts and seats. And what I'm going to say is let them in. Right? Again, we're not constrained. Maybe there's a 101 level class, an introductory level class, or something that introduces the topic, really kind of helps them explore their interest, say what this is. And at this point, some people are going to opt out. But from there, others, I want to go further. So those are the folks who are now going to be engaged, right? So they've finished that first course and have expressed a desire to continue. With those folks, sort of like a proposal in a sale, we're going to invest the time now to create a learning plan for them. So this is a deep skill. This is going to take time to learn. Let's build a learning plan for you that shows your timeline, that shows your resources, where the money's going to come from, where your coach is going to come from, so that there's a plan for how they're going to complete the deeper, richer, often more expensive learning solutions.
Great. So, I really like this visual and this framework, because I really believe when it comes to learning, there's roughly 2 approaches that I see organizations take. So one is making learning available for the sake of learning, right? There's no specific business outcome in mind. It's more of, we just want to create a culture of learning, curiosity. We want to make sure there's resources available if employees wish to engage. We just want to sort of be able to check the box and say there's something out there for everyone. And then there's this second approach, which is, learning is to drive specific performance and business outcomes. And if we're really trying to optimize for these outcomes, then it's helpful to think about it in terms of this funnel, right? How do we get more people in the top of the funnel? How do we manage, when and why people are dropping out for various reasons? How do we push people further down the funnel? That's going to drive, if we need, as a business, if we need more data scientists, that's our outcome. How do we manage this funnel to drive that outcome that we're looking for? So I want to talk about scholarships and stipends in context of this funnel. So jumping back over to Learn In. So we talked about the programs that you can make available, but there's also different types of financing options and financial incentives that you can create and set up. So we talked about the tuition assistance or the tuition reimbursement use case, but you can also create targeted scholarships around specific skills. Now, in this case, it's a data analytics scholarship, and you'll see here it's inactive, not currently available for your programs. But what we can do is if I come back to my programs and I say, I'm really interested in, data and business analytics. Great, so I do this search. This is a great program from Harvard Business School online. I mean, there's lots of great programs around data analytics. I've taken a few programs from Harvard Business School online. I'm really interested in this one. Great, so I'm going to add it to my plan. Well, now here, this scholarship's been unlocked, right? So there's a couple things to think through here. So this is for specific upskilling needs and outcomes. One way that you can drive people further down that funnel, if that funnel is to develop a data analytics skill set, how do we get them to invest the time? Well, one of the great ways is to get them in a program that's going to help them develop those skills. But then, what we see a lot of companies, their first instinct is to say, great, let's find the most adjacent roles and make these opportunities available for people in the most sort of adjacent roles to data analytics or business analytics. But the cool thing here is you can say, actually, we want to open up this scholarship to anyone, because we don't know who in the organization is interested, has the drive, has the interest, has the tangential, the adjacent skill set to really be interested in this. So we're going to make this scholarship available so that anyone who wants to take a data analytics program now has the ability to apply for this scholarship. So it's not the sort of thing that they can just redeem it right away, that you can still set up an approval and an application process so that it can be approved by their manager, by HR, but you can open up the top of the funnel to more people. So that's one concept here, being able to have targeted scholarships, open it up to anyone who's interested, anyone who's willing to commit to doing a data analytics scholarship. One other concept I'll highlight, which is a great way to give employees the ability, the freedom, the empowerment to drive their own development, is learning stipends or personal learning budgets. So here I've been given a personal learning budget. In this case, it's $100 a month. I can see that it's going to go up. You can set this up in any way you want to. There's lots of customization, whether it's a certain amount of money per month, per year, whether it rolls over, whether it's use it or lose it, whether or not there's approvals required or conditions on where you're spending this budget. You can set that up. That's another tool that you should consider. The last one I want to highlight on this page is time. Time is the biggest barrier preventing employees from participating in this deep skill building, in this deep upskilling. And when I talk to companies, it seems like they fall in roughly two different camps and categories. There's a group of companies who say, learning should happen on your own time. And I think that's too bad because, skills are becoming business critical. And if we leave it to employees to do on their own time, well, not everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, but not everyone has the same discretion with their time, right? This is affected by, responsibilities at home. This is affected by commutes. This is affected by, other demands on your time, taking care of aging parents. So if you say it's on your own time, then we're actually going to be exclusionary to underserved and underrepresented groups inside of our organization. And there's another group of companies who say, you know what, we're big on learning. Yes, we encourage our employees to learn at work. But the reality is that employees never actually prioritize it. It never is okay enough to say, I'm actually going to block off an hour or two during my week to be able to learn. There's just other priorities, stuff gets busy, stuff gets in the way. So this is your ability to say, hey, as a company, we need data analytics skills. And if you think about it, there's good and there's bad reasons for employees to drop out of that funnel, right? If I'm just curious about data analytics, I just kind of want to know what it's about. So I, watch a few videos, I access a few of the resources available in our LMS. Great. Maybe that's as far as I want to go. But if there's someone who wants to, really develop this skill set, but they drop out of that funnel because there's barriers such as time, well, how can we remove some of those barriers? So time is a big one. So this is the ability to say, hey, if you're learning data analytics, then we're going to give you a few hours a week or a month to be able to participate while at work. So here I've been approved for 3 hours a week. I can come on here. This is synced to my work schedule. And I can say, you know what, Friday mornings, 9 to 10 a.m., that's when I'm going to be working on my data science program. And I have explicit permission. This is okay. So now I've got that accountability. I've got that reminder. I have it blocked off on my calendar. So, other competing priorities and meetings aren't going to take up this time that I have dedicated for working on my data science or data analytics program. So that's the scholarships and the stipends and the ability to create and allocate time for learning. So let me jump back. So this all so far has been talking about the, let's connect employees to the best external programs. And that's great for if, your employees, there's this long tail of upskilling needs. You can't create a program for everything, connecting employees to the best programs, resources when it makes sense. But there's also times where you want to create and deliver those skill building journeys yourself. And let me show you a couple of the tools that can help you do that. Get back into sharing mode. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the case for building these programs yourself. So building internal programs. Before I go ahead and demo this, let me show this video from Kelly Palmer. Kelly is the Chief Learning and Talent Officer at Degree. Before that, this Chief Learning Officer at LinkedIn. And she describes here in this 30-second clip some of the challenges around, great. And I mean, most companies will agree. They don't just want to make content available. They do want to create these, more immersive, hands-on collaborative experiences, these programs, but it takes work and there's challenges. Kelly in this video highlights a few of those challenges.
It takes some expertise, to actually build a program like this. But this slide shows some interesting data, and that is that the biggest challenges in converting in-person programs to digital experiences are that it's not the same thing, right? There's a completely different methodology. It takes a methodology, it takes some technology, and it takes expertise that maybe people in learning organizations don't have today.
Right, so short clip, but being able to create these skill building journeys and programs, it takes a methodology, it takes some technology, it takes some expertise, it takes resources, right? So this is where, after talking to enough companies, we found, we can help in terms of providing tools to make building these types of programs easier. Here's a framework before I show it inside the product for how we're thinking about creating and delivering these types of programs. So up here at the top, we've got content. So you've got the content, you've got the curriculum. It's an important part of this. It can be internal content, it can be external content, but we don't just want, this content dump. We want it to be this experience where you're going through with a group and there's chances to discuss and collaborate and provide each other feedback. So we're going to add live facilitated sessions. These could either be facilitated or peer-to-peer, but it creates that, live interaction and accountability. And we also want, opportunities for hands-on application projects, right? Ways to actually put what you're learning into practice. So if we could take all of these things up here at the top, kind of bring them together, but then deliver it in all of the ways sort of necessary to engage our employees, we think we can do it in a few different ways. So yes, we can bring it all together and say, hey, here's your learning journey, and here's a nice online destination for you to see all the steps and everything that's expected. But because we're talking about a time-bound experience, so maybe it's going to take 3 or 4 weeks, you're going through with a group, then we can set up an email campaign, right? And let you know what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to know each sort of across each milestone through this program. So we can meet you via email. The facilitated or peer-to-peer sessions, right? We can integrate with your calendar. Those can easily show up on your calendar. The content, we can push nudges, reminders, chances for collaboration to Slack or Teams. So that really the goal here is, this could really be sort of an invisible learning experience where I'm just going about my work, but I know that I have a session on Thursday that we're going to get together and discuss something as a team. And the things I need to know and the things I need to do are given to me when I need them via email or via Slack and Teams. So that's the framework for how we're thinking about this. So bringing this to life, I want to show you this inside of Learn In. Let me jump over here. So here I've got on my plan this program that I'm a part of, and it's a digital marketing program about creating advertising campaigns. So I'm currently enrolled in this. I can see a quick preview of some of the upcoming things that I need to do. But if I go into this program, you'll see a few elements here. We've got the curriculum, we've got a schedule, we've got your cohort. So here I've got this, I've got the steps. I'm supposed to complete some content. I'm supposed to complete a project or assignment. There's a facilitated session where we're all getting together to discuss. You can mark things complete, see your progress. But it's not just self-directed, because really self-directed learning only works for a handful of employees, definitely not myself. If we're expecting employees to engage with skill building over a prolonged period of time, then we need that group and social accountability and collaboration. So you can also say, great, some of these things you complete in your own time, but others, we're getting together, Thursday or Friday afternoon. We're going to discuss this. There's milestones that we all achieve together. And you're doing it with a group of people. You're doing it with a cohort. So if I jump over to edit this program, it's really simple to set up, ask some basic information. Here you can build out the curriculum, right? You can add internal content, external content. You can create projects or assignments. You can add those live synchronous peer-to-peer or facilitated sessions. You can add interactive walkthroughs. So lots of different types of things you can add. And then as we were talking about, the cool thing is, you can say, hey, do we want this to have this piece of content, this session? Do we want it delivered? Do we want to send it to people via an email, via an integration with Microsoft Teams or Slack? You can set that up. So here, if you want to set up email, it's great. This is an email campaign that says, hey, week 1, here's everything you need to know. You're supposed to read this article. We've got this task or assignment. We're going to have a session on Thursday, so get ready for that. As well as if you want to integrate with Slack or Teams, we can push nudges, reminders, the content, and give you this space to collaborate around the experience together. And of course, you can schedule certain elements, you can leave other elements asynchronous. It really is this blended learning experience that we're delivering through those various channels. So it's more in the flow of work. So that is the program, right? So this is the tool to say, hey, great, we've tried the content thing. We've made a bunch of content available. It's not getting us quite far enough to where we want to go. So let's create more of a, a cohorted program-like experience around it. And that's your tool to be able to do that. Let me jump back to, there's one more tool I want to show you. So let me jump back. All right, so this one we call Academies. Josh Burson, if you're familiar with him, he's been talking a lot about Academies recently. I love this quote: "An academy goes beyond a library of content. It is a place people go to advance their job-related capabilities." He also, this is his slide, he says, academies, they're really about aligning to business outcomes. And really, we've seen this progression from traditional training to the self-directed learning. So this might look like an LXP or a lot of content in one of your learning systems. But then how do we take this to the next level in terms of capability academies? So an academy, he says, this is organized by functional area. There's involvement from subject matter experts. There's external content and instructors. There's mentoring and coaching. There's assignments. There's hands-on elements. So this is, and I'll show you here in just a minute. It's taking that that program that we had just talked about, but really building a community around not just an individual program, but really this community or this academy around, all things in this functional area. Before I show you the demo, let me play this video from Peter. He is the head of an academy at Maersk. They created an academy because they saw they were having some challenges and shortcomings with some of the approaches they were taking. So they built out this learning academy. And in this 3-minute video, he describes some of the reasons why they decided to build out this academy model. So rather than just hearing me say it, would love to show you this video to hear it in Peter's own words.
Probably 3 main reasons why we started and why a lot of companies start. I think first of all, we noticed that we had an issue, that some of the learning experiences and the skill building that we wanted to do wasn't really getting there. It wasn't as effective as it could be. And one of the things that we looked at there is, okay, why is this? Now, we had a lot of initiatives going on. There was actually quite a lot of content that was also available to people. But then we started to figure out that just providing content is actually not enough. And that's also some of the things that we see a lot with companies that are buying a lot of content packages, that are investing a lot in learning experience platforms, which I think is a great evolution. But what they are also finding out there is that actually it doesn't end there. Just putting it out there doesn't mean that suddenly you get those results. So that's why a lot of companies are saying, you know what, we need to do more than just provide content. And how do we then make this happen? Well, we actually create contextualized learning journeys, because that is where the impact actually comes from. So that means that you need to do a little bit more. And that is one of the main reasons why you started something like an academy, to do more than just provide content, to put it into perspective for the employees. And for instance, for these more complex competencies and skills, really build a learning journey that contextualizes for the employee. So you focus on that impact and you really get that learning transfer. Another element is also the focus that you can bring with an academy. So what we also see in a lot of companies is a lot of great initiatives also coming from HR and general L&D and other areas. But what we also sometimes see is that they're super broad. They try to do everything for all of the employees, which is also part of why they're there and what they are supposed to do. But that also means that it sometimes is less focused. And what really helps also with skill building and with the academy concept is the focus that you create, because you talk about a specific business objective, a specific impact, a specific KPI or a specific metric that you want to impact. And you're not talking about development for everything in the whole company. And that focus really also helps you to zoom in and basically get a few things done really well, rather than taking a shotgun approach and trying to hit everything at the same time. And then the last element, and I think I already briefly touched upon that, is really that contextualization of the learning. It's not just about providing content, but contextualizing that as well.
Yeah, so let me show you how we can bring this Academy concept to life inside of Learn In. So beyond just an individual program, you have an Academy. An Academy, again, think of it in terms of functional areas or capabilities. So in this case, digital marketing. So you can create these academies, you can make them available to anyone to join, or you can only make them available to certain groups and audiences. So if I go to this digital marketing academy, it's this community, and it's this destination for everything that I need to get better at digital marketing. The purpose of the academy is to drive, better performance, better outcomes in digital marketing. And the way we do it is not just content. It's not content for the sake of content. It's how do we help people get better at their jobs, get better at doing and driving specific outcomes. So what this means is then you can bring this all together. So we talked about being able to build internal programs. So here we have a couple internal programs that we've built. This one around what is a campaign, but you can also bring the best external programs. So from edX or others, we have digital marketing programs so that employees can have access to the best resources, whether they're internal or external. But then you might also have, great, well, we've got these programs, but we also want, maybe we have some workshops or webinars or events for this community, for people focused on digital marketing that we want to make available. So you can set these up, you can easily push these out to people's calendars. You can have quick links to other resources. So again, think just anything that you need to know to help you do your job better around digital marketing. We can help employees be connected to internal or external experts. So if you have subject matter experts who are willing to, if I as an employee have a question, or I want feedback, or I want to bounce ideas off of someone, I need some direction. These are the resources, these are the people that I can reach out to who are willing to, discuss, have me ask them some questions. And again, beyond content, right? So you can think of setting up specific financial incentives just around digital marketing. So maybe this is a spot bonus or a completion bonus based on certain deliverables or certain development activities. So if you complete this thing, then you qualify for, $500 bonus. Great. So you can create these financial incentives. You can set up the scholarships, like we talked about, the digital marketing scholarship, so that employees can have access to the best external resources, courses, programs. You can set up time incentives that are specific to digital marketing that are available for this community. Maybe that's a few hours a week or a few hours a month. And you can also set this up in terms of, you can think of it in terms of levels or certification, right? So this is really, there should be something in here for everyone. And you're going to have some people coming at this who are brand new. You're going to have some people in this who have been doing it for a while. So you can set up these levels and say, hey, once you've done these 3 things, then you've completed level 1, you're certified level 1, and then you unlock level 2. And then there's more activities and resources and deliverables that you'd have to complete to be certified at a level 2. So this is this is kind of the way to bring it all together. This is a community. This is a place for, if I want to up level around digital marketing, giving me all the tools and resources that I might need to really help me get better at this so that we can drive real outcomes inside of the business. So that's all we'll show in terms of the demo. So just to summarize some of this, it's, hey, we've got the the ability to sponsor and pay for employees and approve employees to be connected to the best external courses and programs when it makes sense. We've got the ability to create our own internal skill building journeys or programs. And then for these broader, more functional areas where we're trying to drive capability, you can set up this academy, which can consist of multiple programs, multiple types of incentives, all the other resources. So together, we really believe and have seen that these tools can help you drive skill building inside of your organizations. There's one last slide I'll show, which is HR and L&D don't need more things to do, but we really see these academies as being a tool and a template that you can provide to areas of the business and to functional leaders and say, hey, this is a template that you are going to help us build together. So let's identify the needs and the resources and the things that you want to make available to your employees. So we really see this as being, a tool that lines of business can help own and drive and be involved in. And that's it. So appreciate you all. As you have questions, reach out to myself or anyone on the Learn In team. We are happy to continue to discuss. And even outside of any of Learn In specific offerings or what we've covered, we're passionate about more employees need paths to develop their careers, to develop professionally. Our businesses desperately need skills and capabilities, and it's getting harder and harder to just hire that talent externally. We really need to get better at building internal talent. We're passionate about this. Would love to discuss or answer any questions or share notes. So appreciate it. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. This concludes our webcast today. I'd like to thank our presenter as well as all of you for joining us. If you joined late and would like to view this webcast again, the recording and slides will be available on hr.com in our archived virtual events. Your HRCI credit will show up in your hr.com account within 2 business days. We will also send out an email with the credit information. Please take a few moments to fill out the webcast survey that will open on your screen. Your feedback is very important to us. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of the event.